Hey listeners, Doug Brunner here. Real quick, before we start the show, I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors who brought this show to you here today. Have you heard of Central Irrigation? Central Irrigation specializes in irrigation system design, installation, and maintenance from a variety of agriculture fields. They are committed to service any farmer's needs, making their services unlimited and diverse. Check them out at centralirrigation.com or call them at 209-262-3723.
What's up, guys? It's the Toast, and we're here from the Ag Center. If you haven't heard us, it's a show about farming, new ag companies, ag investments, ideas, innovation, and hopefully we can be a part of helping shift the ag industry. I'm Doug Brunner. I'm here with Keith Yamamoto, partner of mine. And today we're just here to talk about why we started the Toast and what we're hoping you guys can get out of it. It's been fun. We've done 2 so far, but we kind of probably should have started with this episode actually, and just kind of let you know what experiences we've seen in the short time we've been doing business. And the fortunate part that we have in ag is that we get to coincide with a lot of farmers and growers today. And as well as our family has been in ag for a long time. So this has been fun. We're hoping it keeps on growing, and we're hoping we can reach anybody in particular who's interested in ag today. So I'm going to pass it on to Keith. I want Keith to kind of touch base on what he's done. He's kind of had an interesting story and where he is at today. And I'm really proud of him. I think he is a very talented person and somebody who's evolved in the 3 years since I've met him more than probably anybody I've seen in the ag industry, and took in a small business to a big business, and also started other things along the way and seen a lot of roadblocks. And but he has stayed very focused, and I think that's something for everybody to realize in what they're doing is stay focused and driven. So I'm going to pass it on to Keith Yamamoto, my partner and friend, and about to become a daddy soon. And actually, I want to give a shout out to my wife, Alex. We just had a baby, Harper Alexandra, and she's healthy, and her mom is a rock star and doing great, and gives me time to get to work and things like that. So I want to say love you guys, and Keith, you're going to be doing the same thing in a day or two, so good luck on that.
Hey, thanks, Doug. First and foremost, congratulations to you and Alex. Another beautiful baby you guys brought into this world, and thanks for the nice words. We've Doug and I have been grinding on some things together here for a few years, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been challenging, but it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and like Doug said, we didn't really start off this Toast with explaining who we are. We kind of assumed the people that would listen kind of know us already, but I think at this point it'd be good, to kind of explain a little bit about who we are, what we do. I've at a young age, I always played sports through school, and I didn't really have too much interest in anything other than that. That was the way I competed. But what I realize now as I'm getting older is what I really enjoy is like team building, leadership, and strategy. Executing very complicated things with a team has always been something that I get excited about. I never really knew, that I liked that until you get a little older and wiser of understanding, what draws you to certain things. So, when Doug and I met, we were just two hungry guys just trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do next to make some money and keep growing our business. And, I think the synergy that we had was we saw a similar vision about what kind of opportunities there were in the California marketplace, more specifically in the ag marketplace. And honestly, some of it was just just being naive and just thinking we can do more than we probably could have done, and just believing in it and grinding away at it. And all of a sudden, you pick your head up a few years later and we've accomplished some pretty cool things. But anyway, I grew up in Wesley, California. I'm a third generation farmer. My family's been farming in Northern California for, 60 years now. And went to college to play football. Once my football career was done, I kind of stopped going to college. I studied economics while I was there. I like economics because it was the theory of how things are affected. Let's see here. It's the theory of, what causes effect. I can't even talk here. Today, Junior. Economics is like the theory of, cause and effect. This happens and then X happens, then it makes Y. So I always like to see, okay, if we do these things, how is it going to affect the end result? So that was fun, but school wasn't for me. And I learned a lot while I was there, but I learned a lot more from people like my partner, Doug, and my family members, my brother, my dad, people I do business with. That's really where I feel like I gained a lot of knowledge from other people's lessons they've taught me. So, what I try to focus on as an individual is to lead by example and try to put people in the right place so that way people can do what they enjoy doing. Because if people enjoy what they do, and Doug and I share this same this same perspective, is if people enjoy what they do, they're going to do a lot more, and they're going to work harder, and they're going to actually be happy to come to work. And as I say that, I'm looking at two very motivated and upbeat people in our marketing company, in Stephanie and Alex, and they're here sitting in wigs on Halloween because they're very festive and having a good time, right? We're here to work hard, but they're doing it in orange and pink wigs, and it just puts a smile on your face while we're working here. So, so it's fun to see people do what they like to do. And then, what I think that we do well here at the Ag Center is I think we empower people to do even more than they believe they could do. I think even more so than myself, I feel like I'm good at putting people in the right place. But what Doug's good at, amongst other things, is pushing people to their potential. We've got some people that work with us that they didn't believe that they could do what they're doing now, even just a year ago or a few months ago. And really, it just comes from that internal confidence. And it just takes a nudge from someone, like Doug or myself or, anybody to say, you can do more. All right, that's good. Now, what's the next thing? Okay, are we working Saturday? Are you up? Are you first one in, last guy out? And to the point where some people get uncomfortable because they're growing and changing and pushing themselves to the limit. But it's like working out, right? Once you get over that initial soreness, your strength and your growth and stamina just increases exponentially. And I feel like we see after a few years of really working hard and putting people in place and relying on these people to execute their jobs at a high level, we can see it within the people around now that they do believe in themselves. They are much more productive with the time that they put in at work. And then we can see the confidence, like there isn't anything that they can't achieve now because they know at the end of the day, we're not going to die. It's going to be uncomfortable, but the satisfaction of achieving those things you didn't think you could do, you could see it in their eyes. It's something that they're willing, to work hard and push for. Right. So, I think, that part for me lately, I've really realized that's like one of the most satisfying roles. We've got a few main people that we see that the most in, and it's just really neat to see someone go from, running a shovel in the field to being an operational manager, right? So we've been in business long enough to see that like progression and how they never thought they could do that before, and now they're in this position. So I think in my mind, that is kind of like the DNA or the special sauce of what we do here at the Ag Center. We're not revolutionizing production on corn or almonds necessarily, but I think we are maximizing the talent that we have in this area, and by doing that, we are improving the ag industry and the small marketplace that we're touching now, and hopefully that marketplace grows. But I think that is definitely one of the most unique things that we have here. Is it's a competitive environment where continually every day there's a push to be better and better.
Are you a farmer looking for topping services? Tree Barber focuses in mechanical topping, hedging, and custom spreading. They cater to farmers' needs throughout the Central Valley. Find them at treebarberllc.com or 559-363-3315 for more detailed information.
As Keith said, he was an athlete in high school and college. I actually YouTubed him before I partnered with him. He wasn't half bad. So I knew he was a competitor, and I think that's really important when you're looking at people. And I think Keith summed up the Ag Center is we got a bunch of competitors here, a bunch of people who are special in a trade, or more importantly than that, special as a person. And a lot of times you got to dig deeper to find that. I was pushed to see that in people, almost to the brink of sometimes they don't like me too much. But eventually, if they're going to be here for the long haul, we got to get through that barrier and find out what they're going to really succeed in. Like he said, they better enjoy what they do. And no matter who I'm interviewing, I was talking to a young person last night who I'm looking at to hire in Tulare possibly. And, when you talk to them and you hear their voice and where they're at currently, and you see the somewhat intuition they have with where they're at, you eventually, no matter if they come with us or not, I always advise them, you really need to find where you want to be. For me, I was fortunate enough to grow up on a farm my entire majority of my life. We did our first interview on my grandfather, who was an entrepreneur in dairy, really blessed our family with the ability to grow up on a farm, to grow, to watch, to be around our family. And that was really special. I was involved with that my entire life. I have a father, Doug, and mother, my mom, Touche, who really implemented that to our family, to my brother and sister, to work every day. And it was really just frustrating as a young child, just because we had to get up on Sunday. We had to clean pens before we went to school. Saturday, it didn't matter how hurt we were after a football game, we had to work. And now I look back, I'm so thankful for what my dad and mom did. It was a continuous effort on both their parts to not only them as teamwork, husband and wife, but to train their kids in that manner. So I went to college at Fresno State, did a dairy science. I love dairy. Dairy was my passion. But little did I know that it would not be my future, and where I am today. And after I graduated college, I went back to the dairy, worked for my dad there, helped him on the facility, and just never really found my true happiness there. And, one day took a leap into going into farming. And by the support of my dad and a few others, my future father-in-law at that time helped me too, and started growing tomatoes. I had a mentor. I think it's one thing I wanted to ask Keith in a little bit was who his mentor was. I was fortunate to have mentors along the way, from my parents, my grandfather, my high school football coach, my professor in college, to people I worked around, then to somebody like my father-in-law. My wife has been a stable part in my life too. And now, I had a mentor at Morningstar when I got in tomatoes, a guy named Ron Del Forno, who really taught me not just about growing tomatoes, about finance, about risk assessment, things like that. And I was just lucky to be around these people. And that's one thing I want to reach out to young guys is a lot of times we think we're better than we are, but we need that support. We need that age sometimes or history in the business and things like that. And I've always reached out to those type of people to really train me in what I'm going to do. And I sometimes we differ in things, and we're not always on the same page, but all in all, I consider them the stable, the foundation, and what has brought me here today. So once we got into farming, I started a couple other businesses. And what I've realized in every business is I tried to do them myself, and then my other business would start suffering. You would get a high, and it would be a lot of fun. But my success has always been finding somebody who's better than me to run it. And I've been really lucky. So I have guys who are just amazing. I would say not even employees now. A lot of them are partners. Same with Keith. I mean, when you find somebody you synergize with, you find somebody who has a drive, it just turns out to really bloom. And, you're going to have some skips in the field, but right. Just like when you're farming, you have a skip here, you have a skip there, but if you just push through, you do the right work after, you're going to really see a crop that is good. And I think the same thing in your business. You're going to have your highs and lows. And I think one thing with young guys is we get down, we have finances, things like that. A loss, a bad job, whatever it can be. And it's depressing. A customer yelling at you, but that's life. That's the choice we decide to be in. And, at the Ag Center, we're majority built on customer service. So we are going to make mistakes. We are human. Everybody's human. Sometimes we have to reflect that and remind that. But one thing we have here is we have an upbeat passion. I think I can say that about Keith sitting next to me. It's just always a positivity, always a momentum. But I would say the one thing we have here too is constant communication. I can tell you when me and Keith got started 3 years ago, I think we talked 40 times a day, right, Keith?
Oh yeah, it was constant communication.
Keith probably thought I was just
psycho.
Yeah, well, I am. But on that note, if you don't fill out your employees or your help or your partner, things can go haywire, right, Keith?
Oh yeah.
And
communications is not everything, but it is a lot.
Yeah.
Of what it takes.
Yeah. And so the theory of the Ag Center is bringing people together as a unit, a lot of affiliates, a lot of companies who are able to communicate, are able to work together, benefit each other, get better at things through networking, as well as just how did you do this? How did you do that? And I see Keith constantly working with, he's a little more hands-on than me with other companies, and they're just constantly collaborating. And I think it's a benefit to not only our companies, but to the farmer, to our customer is, like I said, we will make mistakes. It's a given. We're not going to make everybody happy. We want to, but we're all at the same goal. We're not get in, get out. We want to create a long-term customer, a long-term partner. We consider our customers a partner in one sense or another. And so I just think that's really what we're trying to do here, what me and Keith have done together, why we're doing this podcast is we want to reach out. We want to interview people who are not with us necessarily. We want to know on the cool things in ag, what's happening, the future. We want to reach out to people in other areas, other states, and in particular California, and particularly this area. And these are young people who want a chance. And a lot of times that's all you need. And we would love to help facilitate that. If somebody's out there going to listen to this, one of the few. Hopefully it's many someday.
Yeah.
But we want to hear your ideas, and we want to be able to collaborate with you if that's something we can attest to. Right?
Yeah. And, the goal of the podcast is kind of, parallel goal of the Ag Center. It's to promote ag entrepreneurship. It could be young, it could be old. It doesn't matter really who it is. It's just how can we create and progress in the ag space, and then also, when we're doing all the work we're doing every day with all the affiliate companies, sometimes we don't sit back and look at a holistic perspective on ag as a whole and into California. I think here at the Toast, on the Toast, we can have guests and we can sit back and have that at length conversation about, why are we putting in drip irrigation systems? Why are we doing dairy digesters? Let's have these conversations of, are we just doing this because people say we should, or do we actually understand, why we're doing this and where things are going? Because we get busy in our day, and sometimes you don't get to have a conversation about why you're doing something or what the purpose is. And so anyway, the Toast, I feel like, is a nice platform where we can sit back and we can analyze this a little further and just have a at length conversation. So it's all tied back to just being progressive, being entrepreneurial, and trying to integrate the ag space and just keep up with the times, because things are moving, so fast.
Things are moving fast, right? And to me, it's just guys who aren't even involved in the Ag Center right now. I'm working with some guys who are custom harvesting for me, and some guys in this area who are, doing their own thing right now. And a couple of guys that I can mention, like a guy named Tyler Badger. He just started doing custom harvesting this year and did it for me. And it was really fun to watch his highs and lows, but his positivity just rang high, young guy in his mid to late 20s and, just getting it. There's a guy in Merced, Mike Kleiberg, who just a young guy, a good buddy of my brother's, friend of mine. And his progression in every, time I talk to him, he's adding a new piece of equipment, adding this, adding that. And that's what I want to be involved with, because I want to see ag just keep growing. There's so many new things coming about, and I love just seeing these young guys kicking butt. You know what I mean, Keith? It's fun to watch, and I'm sure you have the same thing in that area, because I feel at this place, it's just a bunch of young guys kicking butt.
Young guys and girls.
Yes. We got two funny ones right now with wigs sitting in front of us. But absolutely, we have a lot of awesome women here who are super intelligent. They keep the books in line. They keep the tidiness, and they're an important factor. From I have a secretary who, we don't call him secretary, but Chelsea. She's been with me for 3 years. She's going to be my sister-in-law now. She's been a staple in my company, and it's even me and her progression in the office. It's just like a lot of young people just, we got to have insurances. It's different than the way it was back in the day, right? There's safety, HR, and it's amazing to watch these people evolve on the things I don't even know, right? That are happening in our company at times, and they're just adding to the platform. And So I think our vision and our goal here is talking with our marketing team is how do we not only benefit ourselves, how do we benefit the community? How do we benefit young people? How can we help young people learn these business ideas on how to set up an LLC, how to properly finance, things like that? Because it's a tough endeavor for somebody who knows nothing. I was fortunate to be around family who kind of had that platform, right? I think you probably did too.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say for the irrigation business, that's a whole nother animal,
Right.
Construction and stuff like that. But, just the simple things of farming. But so I look at young guys or girls who wanted to get into ag, but it's such a complicated deal right now. Right. So,
Yeah. Well, it's complicated. It's moving fast, and you need to progress. Labor's going up, equipment costs are going up. So you have to be more efficient with your labor, and you have to be more crafty with your technology. And it's hard for an owner operator guy to have to find the resource to be able to integrate technology or integrate higher level marketing or digital marketing. So being able to collaborate like we have here, I think we expose a lot of people to things that they wouldn't be exposed to otherwise because they get to be a part of a group that do have those resources, right? And so, and then those owner operator type guys or those guys that may have not been able to access those resources, you can see the light click in their head when they do get exposed to those ideas or to those technologies that they can incorporate into their business. And our business model here at the Ag Center, we are taking steps towards integrating technology just with our affiliates and helping them with customer relation management, with Salesforce and helping them get their digital marketing program put together and a plan. And, these are things, like I come from a family business. We don't have the time or the space in our day to even think about those types of things. And so this business model here with the Ag Center allows those businesses to access, these things where I don't think they'd be able to achieve it otherwise. Not because they're incapable, but because being a business owner in California becomes more and more difficult. So all their times that they're spending needs to be spent on creating revenue and getting jobs done and finding new customers. So it's not really at their fault. It's just the kind of the nature of the beast here. In this doing business in California is very expensive, as everybody knows. So it makes people work harder and they don't have time for these extra things that can help them take the next step in their business as, growing it, or integrating it. So it's really cool to see these people have access to it. And then, like I said before, once they see and believe that they can do something more, then they do,
Hey, I got a question. We're going to wrap up because we do got to get to work today.
Yeah.
What's the best business advice you've received?
I have to say the best business advice. It's also life advice, and it might be a little cliche, but my dad always told me, he's always raised me to be a competitor. So he never said it in a phrase, or anything like that, but just in general is, compete to win, compete hard, but ultimately compete against yourself and don't measure how good you are, how bad you are based on someone else. Because if you're gauging yourself with someone else, you might set a lower standard for yourself because the other person's standard is not as high as what you can achieve. And then also vice versa. If you're just trying to beat the next guy, well, you're just trying to beat him by a point when really you can beat him by 50.
Yeah.
So always be better than what you were yesterday, and always look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I actually doing as much as I can? Am I being the best that I can? And being honest with yourself and saying yes or no. And most of the time you're not. There's always more you can do. Right. So, I just kind of look back at that whenever there's a hard time. All right, put your head down and just compete every day to get as much out of it as you can. And that might be work, that might be family, whatever it may be. Just always be the best version of yourself that you can be. And, it's a healthy way to look at it, in my opinion. What about you, Doug? What's your best business advice you've received?
I can't necessarily put, I think I've heard so many different things along the way, right? I would say, kind of going back to, like you said, your dad and my dad, I would always tell my dad, oh, they're doing that, they're doing this. You know what I mean? It was just a constant argument with him. And he said, don't worry about what other people are doing.
Right.
Just do your job. Right. And, I think that's really important. And when you write, and another thing is, I've heard it so many times from others, is write down your goals. And if you're doing your job, you're writing down your goals, you're blocking out the naysayers, especially, everybody's going to want, when you're doing good, they're going to want you to do bad. Mm-hmm. Right. So you just got to stay focused on that. And that's one thing my dad always said, don't worry about it. Don't quit talking about others, do your job. Right. And so on that, so I can kind of resemble that same thing with my dad, and yours.
Our dads are similar.
Yeah.
Hard asses.
Yeah. They're a little tough. Hey, so what are you going to do the rest of the day? And what does your future hold in a 30-second? Besides the baby.
The rest of the day, central irrigation, we've got a lot of projects getting rolling right now. So we're going to be meeting and strategizing about how we're going to tackle all this work and take care of it and get things ready for a big planting season for our customers and for our owners. And then my future holds is my beautiful wife, Allie, and I are expecting our first child, our first son, within the next week or so. So that's the future that I'm focusing on right now, and starting my family. And I'm really excited. It's getting very real for me now, because, you can feel them moving around. I know, Doug, you just had your baby girl. And so it's just getting really real, and it's it's even a greater motivation than anything else that I've ever encountered. Just thinking about working hard for, my wife and my son. And it's just, it's crazy, time flies, and I'm 30 years old in a couple months. And I never thought I'd ever be 30 years old. So, so I'm really excited about that. That's going to be life-changing for sure. How about you, Dougie? What do you got going on?
People ask me that daily. I do not like keeping a schedule, and is very, never like schedules. My day is going to be what I feel like when I walk out of this room. I feel fortunate to do that. Always been that way. So I really can't tell you what I'm going to do the rest of the day. Something. Bug somebody.
The most important thing at the time, right?
Yeah, the most important thing at that given moment. That's where I'll be. What does the future hold for me? Constantly evolving daily. Future is a family that's going to keep growing, and that's a special thing that you're going to enjoy. And the future is, I'm really focused on building what we have going here right now. I don't know what else is going to happen. There's a lot of things I have cooking, right? We have cooking, and good things are coming. I really believe that. And I'm going to stay the course on building this idea and philosophy and replicate this in other areas and keep this deal that we got going at the Ag Center going. And I challenge people to check us out on our website at agcenter.com, 59.com, something like that. I'm not really a computer person, but check it out. You can kind of see what we're doing, where we're going. Contact us or contact me. I want to hear. I want to be part of other people's business growth, things like that. That's what I want to do. So we're gonna wrap it up. We got a day.
Real quick, Doug. Just real quick on the future. I had a conversation with Ed Warner yesterday, and he said something that I thought was very interesting that pertains to the future in ag. And what he explained is he's a worldly guy looking at the food supply within the world, and he said what people don't understand, and more specifically, people that are against agriculture, like environmentalists and mainly environmentalists, people that don't understand ag, is our producing ground. We need to produce more food per acre on our high producing ground. And what that will do is it will create more value on the smaller farms in places like Africa and South America and Asia. So if our high producing ground produces more, those smaller farms will not be as necessary to supply people with food, which will then allow growth and stimulation within the economy, because those people now will have industrial type jobs and opportunities, and they won't need to be just farming to create food for themselves, because they can't afford to buy it other places.
Yeah.
So the future is bright. Our struggle will be keeping up with the demand of food, but here at the Ag Center and everybody here, our mentality isn't a pessimistic outlook on problems. We have an optimistic outlook on problems. And when we see a problem, we see an opportunity to solve a problem. And the more problems that we can solve, the more value that we create for ourselves and for our affiliates and our customers. And, I hate to seem cheesy, but also for the world, because we are the largest food producer in the world here in California.
For sure. Well, let's end it with the toast is a name we created that we toast our person we're interviewing. Today I'm interviewing Keith, and we're going to toast to a cup of coffee because we got to get to work and stay focused right now.
Yep.
And Keith's going to have some long nights ahead of him with the baby crying.
Yeah.
So cheers. I don't even know if you have a cup of coffee right now.
It's all right. We'll get to it.
You can have a drink of mine
all right.
if you need it. So anyways, I want to thank you, Keith. All right, guys. Thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
Got a rodent problem that's costing you money? Caddyshack Rodent Service aims to reduce the population of gophers and squirrels in agriculture, commercial as well as residential. They eliminate rodent populations without using synthetic poisons. Contact Caddyshack Rodent Service at 559-363-3315 or check them out on their website at caddyshackrodentservice.com.